in the middle. The famous example came in the 1994 playoffs, when Jackson drew up a last-second play for Kukoc instead of Scottie Pippen, leading to Pippen refusing to check in. While Jackson respected Kukoc's talent, his presence symbolized front office drama, and Phil wasn't exactly fond of the baggage that came with him. Yes, Kobe Bryant is one of Phil's greatest players, but their relationship was complicated and, at times, toxic. In Phil's 2004 book, The Last Season, he openly called Kobe uncoachable. He criticized Kobe's selfish play, refusal to trust teammates, and his constant battles with Shaquille O'Neal. Although they eventually reconciled and won more championships together, there was a stretch where Phil Jackson genuinely couldn't stand coaching Kobe. He hated Kobe's immaturity and called him the most difficult player he'd ever coached. Now, while Jerry Krause wasn't a player, his decisions directly affected Phil's relationships with players. Krause's obsession with bringing in his guys like Kukoc or pushing out stars like Pippen created constant friction. Players like Pippen bore the brunt of Krause's moves, but Phil Jackson often had to act as the middleman. This strained his patience, and though Krause wasn't on the court, Phil's dislike for certain Krause favorites, like the young role players forced into big spots, was clear. While Shaq and Phil did win 3 straight championships together, the big man's lack of discipline frustrated Jackson. Phil hated Shaq's poor conditioning, his refusal to practice free throws, and his tendency to wait until the season started to get into shape. Jackson, a coach who valued structure and preparation, clashed with Shaq's laid-back approach. Behind the scenes, Phil often sided with Shaq in his feud against Kobe, but that didn't mean he enjoyed Shaq's lack of professionalism. Believe it or not, Phil's relationship with Scottie Pippen wasn't always smooth. While they achieved greatness together, Pippen deeply resented the way Phil handled certain situations. The biggest blow came in that 1994 playoff game against the Knicks, when Jackson chose Kukoc to take the final shot. Pippen felt disrespected and humiliated, and the two didn't speak for a long time. Years later, Pippen publicly called Jackson a racist for that decision, a shocking accusation that revealed just how much bad blood lingered. Phil may have appreciated Pippen's all-around game, but the trust between them was never fully repaired. Charles Oakley was one of the toughest enforcers of the 1990s, but his physical, bruising style clashed with Phil Jackson's triangle offense. Oakley was traded for Bill Cartwright early in Phil's Chicago tenure, a move that Oakley never forgave. Oakley has repeatedly blasted Phil Jackson in interviews, calling him overrated and dismissing his reputation as a genius. From Phil's perspective, Oakley's lack of offensive skills limited the team's potential, and he preferred players who fit the triangle system. This long-running animosity makes Oakley arguably the player Phil Jackson hated, or at least valued the least, in his career. Phil Jackson is remembered as a master strategist and a coach who could manage egos, but even the Zen Master had players who drove him crazy. From young Kobe's stubbornness, to Pippen's resentment, to Oakley's anger, these relationships remind us that winning in the NBA is never just about talent, but also about chemistry. Top 6 basketball players Phil Jackson hated the most. Phil Jackson, the Zen Master, is one of the most successful coaches in NBA history. With 11 championships as a head coach, he's widely respected for managing superstars like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. But behind all the rings and calm demeanor, Phil Jackson had his fair share of players he clashed with. Today, we're counting down the top 6 basketball players Phil Jackson hated the most, or at least strongly disliked coaching. During his Chicago Bulls dynasty, Phil Jackson often favored a team-first approach. But Tony Kukoc, a European star with incredible offensive talent, created some tension. Many Bulls veterans resented the attention Kukoc received from management, and Jackson was often stuck in the middle. The famous example came in the 1994 playoffs, when Jackson drew up a last-second play for Kukoc instead of Scottie Pippen, leading to Pippen refusing to check in. While Jackson respected Kukoc's talent, his presence symbolized front office drama, and Phil wasn't exactly fond of the baggage that came with him. Yes, Kobe Bryant is one of Phil's greatest players, but their relationship was complicated and, at times,